Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in the Twin Cities, it's time for Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we've got a good one for you today. Russ Simatic is with us. Russ is the Regional Sales Director for the state of Minnesota for G&A Partners. Russ, welcome.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure having you on. Let's give everyone an introduction to you and to G&A Partners. How are you serving folks out there?
Sure. Again, my name is Russ Simatic. I'm Regional Sales Director with G&A Partners. I've been in Minneapolis for over 5 years here serving G&A. Been in the market for over 20 years. G&A Partners is an HR services and solutions provider. We've been in this business for about 25 years, and we're committed to helping small and medium-sized businesses prosper and help them with their employees. We're classified as a PEO organization, professional employer organization. And again, like I said, we primarily focus on small to medium-sized businesses up to maybe 400, 500 employees. And we specialize in everything HR, from HR services, payroll administration, benefits administration, providing benefits, workers' compensation, risk safety services, and then obviously recruiting. So we're I like to think of us as kind of the toolbox, the HR toolbox for many companies.
That sounds bigger than a toolbox to me, Russ. That sounds like you're providing almost the whole garage to small, medium-sized businesses. I mean, that's quite a backup service that you're taking off their plate. They don't have to worry about anymore.
Absolutely. We like to always think of it we actually help a lot of our clients, from hire to retire, right? So we can provide all of those services in between. And in some cases, some clients may ask us to do that in a turnkey fashion where we can be that entire outsourced HR department for them. And in many cases, we just simply augment what has already been installed in the company, maybe providing them with additional services on recruiting, or perhaps it's just payroll administration and benefits administration. Today a lot of effort, a lot of work is being done in the areas of recruiting, as you can imagine, and helping clients to attract and retain talent. For
sure. So Russ, before we get into some of that, which sounds fascinating, let's talk a little bit about you. I'm curious about what makes you passionate about working in this area. A little bit about your journey.
Well, I'll be happy to share a little bit of that. Fortunately, I've had the good fortune of working for some very big employers in my past. Everything from United Technologies and being the vice president with Sprint PCS for a number of years, and working for Disney and ESPN. And inside those organizations, I was always classified as an intrapreneur, so I would try to take the organization to the next level, and always had that good funding. Mm-hmm. Back in about 2002 or 3 or 4, I left to start my own wireless venture, a software development company. And when I did that, I got introduced to the world of PEO. And a good friend of mine who ran a organization herself said, Russ, you ought to think about this. They can take a lot of those things that are bogging you down and take them off your plate, so you can focus on growing your business. As you know, when you're an entrepreneur and it's your own money at stake, you want to make sure that all your dollars are being spent wisely. And working capital and cash flow is a serious issue. And so one of the things I found was working with a PEO helped alleviate a lot of those concerns when it came to HR. I didn't know what I didn't know. And so getting involved with a PEO helped me quite a bit. So as as luck would have it, we were fortunate to sell our group. I actually ran it two different organizations, and we sold our group. And with a couple kids in college, my wife said, hey, listen, it's not time to retire yet. So Russ, would you take a look at something else? And one of the gentlemen that I was working with a PEO at the time. I said, listen, you know more about the PEO and how it operates than a lot of people. Why don't you come and lead our organization? And ironically, they hired me. That was 11 years ago. So, the reason you mentioned about passion, I really see the benefit in this product and in the services we offer. There's so many things being thrown at entrepreneurs today, small business leaders, middle market folks, in terms of regulations, rules, regulations, policies, procedures. It's an ever-changing area, and it's very time-consuming, and it can be very costly if you make it err. And so having the ability to count on a PEO, an organization like G&A Partners, that can take those things off your plate, centralize a lot of those. You have a single point of contact. You can take advantage of their buying power when it comes to benefits and HR technology and services. All those things really played out. And so I get excited every time I go and sit down with a business leader or an owner or something like that. And I have my deja vu moments of, whoa, I remember that. And I remember going through this. And whoa, it inspires me to kind of help them. Give them the best advice I can, and then put our team to work and see what we can do to help make them more efficient and more prosperous.
That's what an awesome story. You come to the table with a business owner with a lot of credibility, having been on the other side as a consumer of a PEO service, and then just your experience.
Well, I've been very fortunate with that, and I think that's really important. Obviously there's a lot of information out in the marketplace today. I remember talking to a group of business students at a university one time, and I said, when I grew up, we used to have to go to the library and read a book, and today you guys get to sit in front of a screen and gather all the information you want. So today, I think buying decisions are made with people that you can trust and who have similar experiences and who really will say it to you straight. And so I've been blessed to have had those experiences. I will never try to sell somebody something they don't need. But at the same time, I can recognize some things that are happening and maybe provide them with some insights that might, lead them down the right path to, if it's with us, that's great. If it's with somebody else even and it helps them, I feel very rewarded when that happens.
Russ, let's talk about just the notion of what's been going on with businesses. And I think you can argue for some businesses that their biggest issue over the last couple of years in this pandemic has been HR. When it comes to whether it's work from home issues, are we going hybrid? I mean, what are we doing there? Are we coming back to work? Talent retention, acquisition of talent, diversity, equity, inclusion issues. I mean, it really goes on and on. And just talk about what that backdrop is and what, as you visit small business owners, medium-sized business owners, what their mindset is around HR and how you help.
Sure. That's a really, great observation. Unfortunately, COVID's changed a lot of things for a lot of organizations. And I think, in tremendous ways and in ways that I think are going to be with us for a long, long time. Obviously when the first COVID first hit, it was all about survival. It was like, what do we do? Where do we go? What's happening? How do we protect our people? How do we survive? As businesses were intentionally shut down or unintentionally shut down. So I think business owners first, had to deal with panic, and then I think what I noticed was a lot of introspection of like, where are we? What are our policies? How do we handle this? Then you get it compounded by the federal government implying or creating new rules and regulations. You had things in place prior to COVID, Family Medical Leave Act and, things, EEOC policies and all of those types of things affecting HR. But they really got tested during that time of COVID when you had to, when people were starting to leave the workforce, asking for more time off, did they have paid leave? All these things started bubbling up. And unfortunately, here we are, moving into 2022, and I think we're still dealing with a lot of those topics, as the government tries to help put things in place. Sometimes it can create as much chaos as it can help, right? Are we doing this? Are we not doing this? So over the last year and a half, our organization has been, basically walking a lot of business owners off the ledge, right? Coming to them and saying, hey, listen, we can help you on the regulation part. You focus on running your business. We'll even help you on your keeping track of your labor hours, doing time and attendance, those types of things. Will help you with how you deal with COBRA and how you do with leaves and those things. But you focus on your business and trying to keep the doors open and the revenue flowing. And we do that. So we became pretty popular with that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we were helping folks keep track of hours and things of that nature for tax purposes. Then there were, obviously how many hours, a lot of rework with policies with regards to, again, how many hours of leave are going to be applied. And each state, and, granted, we have clients all across all 50 states. Each state deals with it in their own unique way. So it's not just that we're helping our folks in Minnesota, which is a pretty progressive state, but in a lot of other states, the rules and the regs change, and they don't always apply the same way. And so I think when we work with our clients that have multiple facilities, we give them a sense of relief that, at least they've got an expert on their side. And G&A has people in each of those departments watching those specific topics and helping them to get there. But, as I think, that seems to be the biggest thing. There's just been a lot of turmoil, a lot of re-engineering of the HR departments and what they're doing. And we're also seeing, just like in the nursing communities, we're seeing a lot of burnout in the HR world, right? There's a lot of these small companies are, the controller was the HR person.
Right.
Or, the HR department consisted of one person who did payroll and a whole myriad of other things. And They can't be a subject matter expert on all those areas. So, that's one of the things that G&A brings to the table for a lot of our clients.
Folks, Russ Simatic is with us. Russ is Regional Sales Director for Minnesota for G&A Partners. Russ, let's talk a little bit specifically. You talked about that piece on recruiting and retention, because that seems like it's pretty kind of risen to the forefront here in terms of
Absolutely.
HR issues. Talk about what G&A does specifically to help your clients with recruiting and retention.
Sure. Just kind of frame it. One of the things that's happening right now, obviously we hear a lot of words about the great resignation, term and all of this kind of stuff happening. Well, a lot of employers are dealing with that. In particular, the ones from, I think about the service industries, the hotel, entertainment, those types. So those types of folks there are looking for a lot more security now, maybe looking for ways to get away from the immediate contact with people. And they're trying to take those resources, and their knowledge, which tend to be pretty transferable skills. If they're good communicators and they have the drive and determination, they're able to look for other things. So what G&A Partners is doing right now with a lot of our clients is we have a what we call a recruiting, an actual recruiting department. And we are working with our clients to help identify some of that talent in the marketplace. And one of the things that it used to be years ago, people would just simply, go to school, learn a trade, learn a skill, whatever, fill out a resume and send it in and try to get hired. And businesses would post openings and that type of thing. Well, in this day and age, there's more opportunities than there are people to fill the positions. And so our recruiting department has had to take on what they call an active recruiting practice, where we are actively seeking or going to companies or going to organizations, schools, you name it, to identify people that might be interested in making a career change and looking at how they might fit and use some of those skill sets, those transferable skill sets into working with that organization. And so it's gone from sitting back and waiting for the resumes to flow in through some website to actively calling and reaching out to individuals and organizations and trying to identify those people proactively and placing them into these roles where we know they could survive and prosper.
So, Russ, let's talk a little bit about the types of companies and industries that are good fits for you. I mean, do you have a theme there?
Sure. One of the things I've always noticed, after the 11 years I've been in this, industries that tend to sell the intellectual power or the knowledge of their people are really great candidates for PEO businesses, right? Because they get it. They're typically in the business of outsourcing that talent, engineers, architects, medical professions, lawyers, IT professionals. Obviously, wherever you're already in the business of selling those skills, those people really line up. In the past, they line up really well with a PEO because they get the picture, they get the package, the understanding of it. But what I've seen over the last 3 or 4 years is a tremendous switch coming to other kinds of industries, like for instance, manufacturing. Manufacturing used to be pretty traditional. They would have a CEO and fill in all the gaps underneath and put everybody there. And as more and more of those organizations in their leadership ages out, and retires, the younger generation is more open to looking at what are we really good at? What should we be doing? And they're a lot more open-minded to using an outsource like G&A Partners for their HR services. The other one too that I've had, we've actually picked up a couple of different organizations that are in fun ones are, the microbreweries and, having to deal with, hey, they got a production facility that they're dealing with, and they also have an element that deals with, dealing with people maybe in their front brew room.
Right.
So we're seeing quite a bit of that. Interesting enough, John, one thing that I've noticed also is leadership thinking outside the box. Years ago, it was pretty traditional, right? And the idea or the concept of a PEO didn't resonate well. It was like, wow, are they trying to take over my business? Are they trying to run my people? And I think they're starting to come to the realization is we're typically we're just really an outsourced HR department. We work for the owners. They run the company. Those people still report to that company. The owners are in charge of creating the culture and what's there. And so again, as younger leadership starts to take over, they're more open-minded to these new ways and new options that exist for them.
What are I'm curious about maybe the biggest misconceptions that business owners have about a PEO. I mean, you've seen this from the client side, and now you're on the other side. as a provider? What are those biggest misconceptions that we can clear up right here on this show?
Well, I think the number one misconception is that when you work with a PEO, the owners believing that they lose all control of their personnel and their people. Nothing could be further from the truth. The agreements that we have with our customers specifically state that we are simply being hired to manage and run the HR department functions, to deal with the tasks and the duties of HR. Mm-hmm. And they have the exclusive and right or, duty to control those people and run that business. So if we can clear up anything, that would probably be the biggest one that's out there that causes probably the biggest, the most angst for a lot of folks.
Right.
And then I think if they can think about it from a perspective of what are they willing to get rid of, right? What kinds of, if they could have people producing, more revenue and take away those non-revenue producing opportunities or those jobs and put them in our basket, what would happen to their business? It could turn out to be something quite dramatic for them. And secondly, they have the opportunity working with the PEO to take advantage of G&A's buying power when it comes to HR technology, just having access to the expertise, and even with benefits. We provide our clients with access to a benefit program that small businesses can't get access to. And so you think about how many checks are they writing today, and wouldn't it be nice to just write one and save some money on it? And that's probably the big advantage to PEO today.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see that. Russ Simatic is with us, folks. He is with G&A Partners. He's the regional sales director for Minnesota for G&A. So what do you see ahead in 2022? We've gone down this laundry list of issues and concerns and problems that the HR related that small businesses have dealt with over the last couple of years. What does it look like ahead in 2022?
Well, I see two or three things, primary areas. One of them will be still on this transition of people. A lot of people reevaluating where they're working, what are they doing, looking and wanting to make a difference in the world, right? There's a lot of people out there looking at their existing jobs and saying, where is this really what I want to do? I want to make a difference. And that's driving a lot of that. I think you're going to also see a lot of people continuing to transition out of high contact jobs and looking to say, hey, can I take my skill sets, or can I go back to school and learn something new to help my family along, and those types of things. So I think that's going to continue, and we're going to see a lot more of that in the future. I do think we're going to be dealing with a lot of things along family medical leave, and leave policies, because in this day and age, if you're having to take care of a family, or you're having to take care of a child or somebody with COVID or whatever, it's come to the head that people need time in their organizations to do that.
Right.
And so, companies are going to have to deal with that, figure out a way to make that work. And that's going to be important. And I also think there's still going to be a lot of pressure on benefits. Benefits, it isn't just medical anymore. It's just not, the physical side of it. It's the mental wellness and how we're dealing with, DEI and diversity and inclusion, and all those elements that are very, very important to give everybody a fair chance and to help try to control those costs. And we're going to have to continue. And I think you're going to see a lot more pressure on, maybe transparency when it comes to some of those things, and billing. And but business owners are going to be in a tight bind. And I think, working with organizations like G&A Partners, where you can get a little bit of that buying power, stay ahead of the curve and what those trends are. could prove very, very beneficial for them.
So, Russ, this has been awesome. You've really delivered the goods here today, and I really appreciate you. I've got to ask you though, before we let you go, okay. I was looking in the show notes. It said you grew up in Wisconsin. You're a Packer fan, but you're claiming also to be a Vikings fan. Now I'm trying to figure that one out.
There you go.
Yeah. So how is that possible? I don't understand that.
Well, here's the story behind that. I've been in Minnesota for 20 some odd years now, and I absolutely love it. I just love the people here, and it's a great community. But I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And my father, anybody who was born and raised in Wisconsin has a little cheese running through them. And so we're kind of always considered kind of Packer fans. Well, when at a very young age, my father took me to a game, and Ray Nitschke signed an autograph in a playbook on my back.
Oh, wow.
And so after that happens, you better not tell people you're not a Packer fan. But I am very much a Minnesota fan and through, love my Twins, love my Vikes, and love the Wild. So, that's kind of how that works.
Well, thanks for letting me give you a hard time about that one. But no, this has been great, Russ. Lots of great information. I can't imagine at this point there aren't some folks that want more information and want to get pick your brain on a few things and maybe find out about your services. So let's give them directions on how to find you.
One of the things I would recommend to anybody, and again, back to my college story, I'd tell everybody, hit the website, go to www.G&A Partners.com. We've got a tremendous website. It's very intuitive, and there's some really great tidbits and testimonials from our customers about how they applied some of these services that we have. And I would highly recommend that, again, along with some case studies. Locally, you can reach me right here in Edina, Minnesota at, I'll give you my office number. It's 952-656-0180. Again, 952-656-0180. And if you call that number, they can reach me anywhere. We are available. They know how to track us down. Mm-hmm. And again, if somebody wants to reach out directly to me, I can be reached at R Simatic, SIMATIC, at GNAPartners.com. So that's my email address.
Russ Sematic, folks, G&A Partners. Russ, this has been both fun and informative, the best kind of interviews. So thank you so much for
You're
coming
very
on.
Welcome, John.
Yeah, we appreciate you and the great work that you do for small businesses in our region.
Thank you very much.
Hey, folks, just a quick reminder that Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio is on all the major podcast apps. So if you are not subscribed to the show on your favorite app, go do so and use that search term, and you'll easily find the show. And please subscribe and like and share the show. It's not about me or Business RadioX. It's about our great guests that we've had on the show, like Russ, who work with small business, celebrate small business. We want them to be found and for them to prosper. So you're sharing the show and helping us in that regard helps our guests, and that's what we're looking for. So if you could do that, we'd appreciate it. And this is our last show for 2021 for Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio. Lots of big plans for 2022. We appreciate you, our listeners, joining us this year, and look forward to catching you on the other side in the new year. Happy New Year to all of you. And for Russ Sematic, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here in the new year on Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Radio.